Hey everyone. Okay, I think my printer's going, so just ignore that in the background there. Hey, so good to be with you. I'll give you all a second to come on. Yeah, we're coming down to it. So thanks for joining us today for the Rich Girl Workshop this beautiful September day. So thanks again. It's so good to have you on and really love having all of your comments. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's just the best, isn't it? It's just the best. Last week, Last week, we talked about your Goliath of your doubts. And I want to thank many of you because you commented not only personally during the live broadcast, but you also talked to me later on personal messages. You know, doubts really are a normal part of life. Yet, if they keep holding us back and they cause a little bit of like mental misery, then becoming curious over our doubts can really reduce much of their power over us. Isn't that true? So, what we refuse to see, though, doesn't really go away, does it? No. If we don't want to see something, it doesn't go away, it grows. It grows. I mean, it grows until it's like right in our face. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. But for me, all of my doubts aren't necessarily bad unless those doubts make me question my own good feelings about who I am, what I can do, or my sense of worth in the world or to my Heavenly Father. If it makes me question my goodness, then they can really be directed for like really whipping myself up. And I know that I have mostly an audience of women here. And I'm going to say that most of us listening and watching are pretty good at that kind of stuff. Okay, now this is what I've been talking about because it's really important to discover what these things say about self. And I love it when you guys comment. So thank you. So just type your comments in the comment line. Let me know that you're on. Maybe you even are going to talk to me about what kind of doubts you've seen in others because, you know, many of our lessons are not necessarily personal. We see life through other people. Maybe they are our textbook. Maybe other people are our textbook that allows us to move through our life even smoother because we can learn from other people and especially other people's mistakes, right? So feel free to comment. Thank you, Pat, for being on. First one to say hi. Thank you. Thank you. Let's talk about this week's topic. Shall we go? Let's talk about it. So, can people really change? Well, I want to tell you that science, especially neuroscience, would say a loud, great big yes to that because our brains are neuroplastic. They can do things, they can change. And when we say that a person can never change, you guys, that's just really not true, and it never has been. I don't know why we thought that. Oh, people can't change. Oh, people can't change. You know, this is much easier. This concept is much easier to see in a child because they change almost daily. You know, if you watch a 4-year-old, they're going to be completely different, right? They're completely different as a 14-year-old and then again as a 24-year-old. They don't look the same, they don't act the same, and that's really a good thing, right? Okay, and sometimes as a mother of 5 myself, I thought that my 14-year-old was actually reverting back to his 4-year-old self a couple of times. But these things that a 14-year-old are doing right now, well, they better not be doing at 24. We are much the same way in our ability to grow and to perceive life and change. But as adults, hopefully, we are much more intentional about changing. We're much more aware of changes that we want to see happen. Okay, so when we look at a child and they are not hardwired to routines, you have to remind them a lot. And my whole point of this is to show something here that makes it good to be an adult. Because when you're a kid, your parents have to tell you 1,000 times to brush your teeth, go to the bathroom before bed, wash your hands. Oh my gosh, that's a big one. Pick up your plates before you leave the table. We remind our kids about the same thing night after night, day after day, and they are not hardwired for routines like we are. No, they're not. So here we go. Could it be that part of our brain is actually keeping us from living our best life, keeping us from enjoying our fullest happiness and fullest joy? Is it keeping some of us from thinking too small and thus doing too small? So we'll talk about us, right? Our past is one of the very best sources of information for what we actually can do. I know that's a little strange. People say, well, don't look at your past, but I want us to look at our past. Look at our past for some strengths, not some weaknesses. And right now in our world, we need to take a look at who we've been in the past. And let me repeat, your strengths, not your weaknesses. Ask yourself, your brain, ask yourself, example, what can you come up with in a few words that would describe you? So I want to work with you on this. Let's get in the work of this. Ask your brain examples. Then you come up with a few that will really work for you. Okay, let's do that. Let's ask yourself the questions. What was I able, or when was I able to handle disappointments before? That's a good question to ask. And allow your brain right now to come up with maybe a couple of things. Was I able to talk to people before? Okay, ask yourself, was I able to talk to people before? Was I ever in a situation where I said no to something that I really didn't want to do? Okay, that's a self-empowerment question. Was I able to take back control over my life for anything? That's just a couple of questions, but I want you to know that you've got your own questions that you can ask. Can you ask questions with many things that you are thinking about right now? My start with, was I ever able? Okay, now if you can say and answer yes to these self-evaluation questions, have I ever, then there's a chance, oh my gosh, my friends, there's a big chance that you can do it again. Was I ever able? And then of course you fill in the blank. So in the comment box, what was one thought that you had that you have changed? What have you changed in your life, present or past? Okay, what are you in the middle of changing? And you can make it just like real soft, or you can be very vulnerable, whatever you want to put. Renee, thanks for being on. Thank you. Shirley, thank you for being on. Aquila, thank you for being on. Oh my gosh, you guys. And Becky, it's good to see you back again. And always Jeanette, thank you. And Kay as well. Okay, I love this topic, you guys. I love this topic because the brain wants us to keep us all where we are. It's the job of the brain. Now, y'all, we have talked about this a lot, right? We've talked about how it's the brain's job to keep us safe and warm. It doesn't like to be challenged. It doesn't want you to do new things. Or it sometimes cause you pain from the past. The brain will work hard at not putting that similar situation in your future. If it's something that's really good for you, doesn't matter. If it was painful, oh my gosh, brain doesn't want to go there. Let me give you an example of this. This has just happened to everybody, I think. Have you ever, my friends, gotten really sick on a food, like a food that you really liked? And we're talking like really sick. You most likely, right, will not eat that food again for a long time or really never. Your brain has associated pain or being very uncomfortable with that food. It's the same, you guys, in the relationship of so many things in our life, many things that we experience even today. So if I want to start a business, or I want to start something new, or I want to do something or move up in my business or whatever, maybe I've never done that before, or it's been a long time. When I tried, maybe it wasn't a good experience. Okay, you guys get my drift, right? Same thing with the food thing. Chances are, if I don't catch what I'm thinking, then I will not get started. And I'm going to make an excuse. I'm going to make an excuse like the time's not right, or I need to wait, or the weather's bad, or wait till my tax returns come home, or wait till they have a cure for COVID. Okay, those are all excuses, but our brains feel better with an excuse. We're making ourselves great at making excuses, especially when we feel kind of uncomfortable. But do excuses really serve you? Do they serve anyone? Okay, because after an excuse, what happens? Okay, because we can do excuses quickly, right? I know I can. Then what happens is we keep repeating the past and we start running on default. Life will take over if we just allow whatever to happen. If we allow our thoughts to run through our heads, it's like our thoughts are all toddlers and they've all run through our heads with knives. Okay, yep, that's the brain unmanaged. So are you thinking, yes, I know that people could change. I know that I'm one of them. Now, this session is not about how you get your husband to change. It's not about how you get your daughter to change, or a friend, or whatever. It's going to be really about us, because that's what we get to be in charge of. If you want a different results, then you must train your brain to shop the past. and also look at the future. But shop the past. Let the power of your past prove you're worthy, prove your ability. This is a challenge as a future is your future's like my future too, just an empty canvas, big empty canvas. It requires faith. It requires the faith to pull from the past to allow us to have a better future. That's it, you guys, faith. When you don't see any evidence, maybe the only evidence you have is something that you did 15 or 20 years ago that will give you a little bit of a thrust forward. Look to also your future self. Okay, she's out there, you guys, that future self. Good idea. Okay, so we're going to go ask her. We're going to go ask future self. And now I'm going to look and see what some of the things you've said here. You guys, thank you. Oh, Christy, it's great to have you on, Christy. Thank you for joining us today. You guys can type in these anything you want to type in. Thank you for Jeanette for I'm in charge of me. So true. So your future self has become the woman you most admire. Okay, so just form her, that future self. She's taking good care of herself. She's mentally and physically fit. She is your highest wisdom. Yep, she is. So what would she want you to continue doing? So I ask myself this question oftentimes, and my older self tells me a couple of things. My older self has told me, keep growing, Suzanne, in mind and spirit. Keep growing. She will also tell me to talk to more people. She'll also tell me to break a few routines and enjoy life and people more. She'll also tell me many times, question my belief about some things so that I can keep growing as an individual. But be more passionate about people too. I mean, I've had her tell me that. Be more passionate and help other people see what's possible in their lives. That's your future you talking. So go to her. She will challenge you, and it's worth it. She's going to help you access some internal wisdom that you've always had. So maybe you have a big huge goal, or maybe you have a little goal you start moving on. You may have even freaked yourself out about it and made it so big that you don't even want to touch it, kind of like cleaning out the storage closet or something. But maybe you lack a little bit of direction. Really, if you don't have any goals, or you have very few goals, maybe you've been afraid to take the first steps. Maybe you've allowed that overwhelming feeling to kind of grab at you. Okay, so what would your future self give you advice about now? Go to her, and what would she say to you? She might smile really big and say, you can do this. I believe in you. After all, I am you, and I'm never going to leave you. That's what your future self would say. Isn't that great? She's never going to leave us. I kind of picture Glenda, the Wizard of Oz. She's my future self, mostly because I really love her dress, but also I just love the way she was just so like into Zen. I love Glenda. And remember when she was, I don't know, maybe she wasn't stroking Dorothy's hair, but I kind of imagine she was, and saying to Dorothy, you always have the power. You always had the power. Okay, that's kind of my future self a little bit. All right, we're going to talk about your assignment. Linda, you are on, and you've given us a good message. I want everybody to read what Linda put on here. Linda, thank you. Okay, we're going to talk about an assignment, because assignments are a wonderful part about getting started into the real practice and the real results of what you're hearing today. It's the best way to start to see changes in ourselves. Best way. Okay, so first off, get quiet. All right, so assignment number 1, get quiet. Get quiet and access your older self and ask these 3 things. Okay, get quiet, you guys. Becky, thank you. I love it. I just see you just responded with a nice typed message here. Ooh, future intuition and connect with people. Oh, I like what you're saying. High five, Becky. Okay, get quiet with yourself and ask yourself a couple of questions. There are actually 3. The first question is, what should I stop doing? Write it down, write your things down, and the thoughts will come to you. They really will. In fact, you may have more than one thought. And it can't be things like stop eating. Okay. All right. So ask your future self, what should I stop doing? All right. Then ask also, what should I start doing? And then the third question you ask is, what should I continue doing? All right, you guys, what should I stop doing? Write it down. What should I start doing? And what should I continue doing? Those three questions. I want to congratulate everybody. You're accessing one of the most powerful person, your higher wisdom self. That she's at your beacon all the time, day or night. Day and night, you can call on her. Okay, so I want to just wrap up a little bit because this is time. I mean, I can't believe 15 minutes goes so quickly. You can catch all of the Rich Girl Workshop, all of the topics on YouTube. Just search Suzanne Brothers, Rich Girl, or you can scroll down here. You can see a lot of them on Facebook Live and find lots of good topics here. So I want you to just please share these short Monday sessions with your friends and your family because after all, that's why I do them. That's why I do them because my higher self says, reach out, touch people's life, show them what's possible. All right, you guys, happy Monday, happy week to all of you. Appreciate you being on today with me. Love you, and let's access our higher self and know, yep, we can change, and we'll be the first to start. Love you guys. Happy day to all of you.